Hello there, and welcome to Whispered Knowledge. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you've had a long day, or perhaps you're someone who enjoys drifting off to sleep while learning about the fascinating mysteries of the human mind. Either way, you're in exactly the right place. Tonight's journey takes us deep within to explore something you carry with you every moment of every day, yet rarely think about directly. We're going to discover the subconscious mind, that vast, hidden realm beneath your awareness that shapes nearly everything you think, feel, and do. You have nothing to do right now but rest. Let your breathing slow, your muscles soften, and your mind settle into a state of gentle curiosity. Because what we're about to explore together is nothing short of extraordinary. Your subconscious mind is working right now, even as you listen to these words. It's regulating your heartbeat, coordinating your breathing, processing memories, generating dreams, and quietly steering countless decisions before your conscious mind even knows a choice has been made. Tonight, we'll uncover 100 fascinating facts about this hidden powerhouse. We'll journey through memory and dreams, habits and emotions, childhood programming and adult behavior. We'll discover how your subconscious stores trauma, generates intuition, and sometimes works against your best interests, even while trying to protect you. And perhaps most importantly, we'll explore how understanding this invisible force can help you live with greater awareness, intention, and peace. Before we begin, if these calm, thoughtful explorations help you unwind or give you a quiet way to end your day, consider liking and subscribing to Whispered Knowledge. It helps others find their way here too, one peaceful mind at a time. Now, let's descend together into the depths of your subconscious mind, the hidden giant within. The subconscious mind is not some mystical concept from ancient philosophy. It's a very real, very powerful aspect of how your brain processes information. And when I say powerful, I mean staggeringly so. Contemporary research in neuroscience suggests that the vast majority of our brain's activity, with some estimates reaching as high as 95%, occurs below the level of conscious awareness. While the exact percentage remains debated among researchers, what's clear is that only a small fraction of what's happening in your mind at any given moment rises to the level of conscious awareness. Your brain is an extraordinarily complex processing system, with billions of neurons forming trillions of connections, all firing in intricate patterns every moment. Yet your conscious mind, that voice in your head that feels like you, can only track about 7 pieces of information at once, give or take 2. This limitation was identified by cognitive psychologist George Miller in the 1950s and is still recognized today as a fundamental constraint of conscious awareness. Meanwhile, beneath that narrow beam of consciousness, an entire ocean of mental activity churns and flows without you ever noticing. Think about this for a moment. As you listen to these words right now, your subconscious is simultaneously monitoring thousands of internal processes. It's tracking the position of every limb. It's maintaining balance, even though you're lying down or sitting still. It's regulating body temperature, adjusting blood flow, managing hormone levels. It's scanning your environment for potential threats. It's processing the emotional tone of my voice. It's searching your memory banks for related concepts and experiences. It's preparing motor responses in case you need to move suddenly. All of this, and infinitely more, without requiring a single conscious thought from you. Research suggests the human nervous system can register enormous amounts of sensory information every moment, with estimates suggesting millions of bits of data flooding into your system. The sights, sounds, smells, textures, internal sensations, the position of your body in space, the temperature of your skin, the pressure of your clothing, the subtle movements of air, the faint sounds in the distance. All of it registers, all of it arrives, all of it is processed somewhere in your nervous system. Yet your conscious mind, with its limited bandwidth, can process only a tiny fraction, perhaps around 40 to 50 bits of information per second, according to some estimates. The ratio between what your nervous system receives and what reaches conscious awareness is vast, suggesting that the overwhelming majority of information processing occurs entirely outside conscious awareness. This isn't a design flaw, it's a magnificent solution to an impossible problem. If you had to consciously process every sensation, every memory, every potential action, you would be completely overwhelmed within milliseconds. You couldn't function. You couldn't walk down a street, couldn't have a conversation, couldn't make breakfast. The conscious mind simply doesn't have the capacity. So evolution solved this problem by creating a powerful parallel processing system, the subconscious, that handles the vast majority of mental work automatically, efficiently, and invisibly. Consider something as simple as recognizing a face. When you see someone you know, their identity seems to pop into your mind instantly and effortlessly. But beneath that instant recognition, your subconscious has performed an extraordinarily complex feat of pattern matching. It has analyzed dozens of facial features, the distance between the eyes, the shape of the nose, the curve of the jaw, the unique configuration of this particular face. It has compared these features against the thousands of faces stored in your memory. It has matched the current face to the stored template. It has retrieved associated information, this person's name, your relationship to them, memories of past interactions, emotional associations. And it has delivered all of this to your consciousness in what feels like a single, immediate moment of recognition. The entire process, with all its complexity, happens subconsciously. Your conscious mind simply received the result. Research conducted at Cornell University suggests that people make approximately 35,000 decisions every single day. That breaks down to roughly one decision every 1.5 seconds during waking hours. Now think about that. Can you consciously recall making 35,000 choices today? Of course not. The vast majority of these decisions, from what route to drive home to whether to trust someone you just met, happen automatically in your subconscious mind. You simply become aware of the outcome, the feeling, the urge to act in a certain way. Many of these decisions seem trivial in isolation. Which shirt to wear, whether to have coffee or tea, which social media post to scroll past and which to read. But these small choices accumulate, shaping the texture of your entire day, your entire life. And most of them are made by processes you never witness, evaluated against criteria you're not consciously aware of, filtered through preferences and associations stored deep in your subconscious memory. Even more significant decisions often have substantial subconscious components. When you're choosing between job offers, evaluating romantic partners, deciding where to live, your conscious mind may carefully weigh pros and cons, but your subconscious is simultaneously running its own analysis. It's checking these options against your deeply held values and fears. It's generating gut feelings based on pattern matching with past experiences. It's sending emotional signals, attraction, anxiety, excitement, that color and guide your supposedly rational deliberation. Studies have shown that when people are asked to make complex decisions, those who are given time for unconscious thought, essentially being distracted with another task and letting the subconscious work in the background, often make better choices than those who consciously deliberate carefully. This is particularly true for decisions with many variables. The subconscious seems to be better at weighing multiple factors simultaneously, while consciousness tends to fixate on just a few salient points, missing the bigger picture. There's a fascinating phenomenon called highway hypnosis, or automaticity, that beautifully illustrates subconscious competence. Have you ever driven a familiar route and arrived at your destination with almost no memory of the journey? Perhaps you were thinking about something else, lost in thought, or listening to music or a podcast, and suddenly you're pulling into your driveway with no recollection of the past 20 minutes. This isn't a failure of attention. It's your subconscious mind perfectly executing a complex series of actions, steering, accelerating, braking, changing lanes, navigating turns, all while your consciousness was occupied elsewhere. Your subconscious can drive the car just fine without conscious supervision because the pattern has been practiced so many times it's been deeply encoded. The French psychologist Pierre Janet is credited with coining the term subconscious in the late 19th century, though the concept itself had been explored for centuries in various forms. Janet was particularly interested in how the mind stores memories and experiences that influence behavior without conscious awareness. He worked extensively with patients suffering from what was then called hysteria, observing how traumatic memories seemed to create symptoms and behaviors even when patients had no conscious recollection of the original events. Janet proposed that the mind had layers, with some content accessible to awareness and other content remaining hidden but still active. Around the same time, Sigmund Freud was developing his own theories about the unconscious mind, though he preferred to call the accessible layer the preconscious to distinguish it from the deeper, completely inaccessible unconscious. Freud's model has been immensely influential, though many of his specific theories, particularly about the sexual nature of unconscious desires, are no longer accepted by mainstream psychology. What has endured is the basic insight that much of mental life occurs outside awareness, and that this hidden mental life significantly influences conscious thought, emotion, and behavior. Modern brain imaging technology has given us the ability to actually watch the subconscious at work. Functional MRI scans reveal that certain brain regions light up with activity before a person becomes consciously aware of making a decision. In some neuroscience experiments, researchers have observed neural patterns that appear to predict upcoming choices, suggesting that subconscious processing begins before conscious awareness of deciding. The exact timing and interpretation of these findings remain topics of active research and debate among neuroscientists. These findings have profound philosophical implications. They suggest that what we experience as free will, the sense that we're consciously choosing our actions, may be partly an illusion. The choice may already be made by the time we become aware of making it. Our conscious experience of deciding might be more like becoming aware of a decision that has already occurred in the subconscious. We experience ourselves as authors of our choices, but we may be more like narrators, telling the story of choices that wrote themselves. This creates a somewhat unsettling but fascinating reality. Much of what you think of as you, the conscious decision maker, the rational thinker, is actually witnessing choices and actions that have already been set in motion by deeper processes. You are, in many ways, a passenger in your own mind, watching a story unfold and believing you're the author, when much of the narrative has been written by the subconscious storyteller within. But here's the subtle and important point. You are still that storyteller. The subconscious isn't some alien entity controlling you. It's you, a version of you that operates beneath awareness, but is still fundamentally you, shaped by your experiences, your values, your learning. Understanding this doesn't mean you have no agency. It means your agency is distributed differently than you might have thought, spread across conscious and subconscious processes that are both aspects of your mind. The architecture of a hidden world. To understand the subconscious, it helps to think of the mind as having distinct levels, like an iceberg floating in water. The tip of the iceberg, visible above the surface, represents your conscious mind. This is your immediate awareness, your thoughts right now, your ability to deliberately focus attention. It's where you do math problems, have conversations, and make plans. The conscious mind is sequential, processing one thing at a time, slow and deliberate. Just below the waterline sits the subconscious or preconscious mind. This layer contains everything that isn't currently in your awareness, but can be accessed relatively easily if you focus attention on it. For instance, you're not actively thinking about your childhood address right now, but if I ask you to recall it, you can probably bring it to consciousness within moments. The subconscious stores your memories, learned skills, habits, beliefs, and automatic behaviors. It's the library of your experience, organized and catalogued, ready to inform present actions. Deeper still, beneath both conscious and subconscious layers, lies what Freud called the unconscious proper. This is the realm of completely repressed memories, primitive drives, traumatic experiences that have been locked away because they're too painful or threatening to acknowledge. The unconscious, in classic psychoanalytic theory, is not directly accessible even with focused effort. It can only be glimpsed indirectly through dreams, slips of the tongue, symptoms, and symbolic behavior. Neuroscience has mapped specific brain structures responsible for different aspects of subconscious processing. The basal ganglia, deep within the brain, play a crucial role in habit formation. When you first learn to drive a car, your conscious mind is intensely involved, coordinating every movement. But after months of practice, driving becomes automatic. The basal ganglia take over, running the routine so efficiently that you can drive an entire familiar route while your conscious mind thinks about something else entirely. This is subconscious automation at work. The amygdala, two almond-shaped clusters deep in the temporal lobes, processes emotions and emotional memories. The amygdala can trigger fear responses before your conscious mind even recognizes the threat. If you've ever jumped at a sudden sound or felt inexplicable anxiety in a particular place, that's your amygdala, working subconsciously, protecting you based on past experiences and learned associations. The hippocampus is essential for forming new memories and retrieving old ones. It consolidates information during sleep, deciding what to keep and what to discard. Much of this memory processing happens entirely outside conscious awareness. You go to sleep after studying, and while you dream, your hippocampus is busy organizing what you learned, strengthening important neural connections, preparing those facts to be available when you need them. The default mode network is a fascinating discovery of recent neuroscience. This network of brain regions becomes active when you're not focused on the external world, when your mind wanders, when you daydream. The default mode network is associated with self-reflection, memory retrieval, imagining the future, and processing social information. It operates largely subconsciously, generating the stream of thoughts, worries, and mental simulations that fill your mind during idle moments. All of these structures work together, creating a vast parallel processing system that handles far more information than consciousness could ever manage. Your subconscious doesn't think linearly like your conscious mind. It processes multiple streams of information simultaneously, finding patterns, making connections, preparing responses, all while your conscious attention focuses on whatever task is immediately at hand. The memory vault. Memory is one of the subconscious mind's primary domains. When people talk about memory, they often imagine it as a video recorder, capturing experiences exactly as they happened and playing them back on demand. But memory is far stranger and more complex than that. It's not a recording device, it's a reconstruction system, and much of the reconstruction happens subconsciously, outside your awareness or control. Psychologists distinguish between explicit memory and implicit memory. Explicit memories are things you can consciously recall and describe, like what you had for breakfast or the plot of your favorite movie. These are sometimes called declarative memories because you can declare them, put them into words. They require conscious effort to retrieve, though that effort may be so slight you barely notice it. Implicit memories, on the other hand, are subconscious. They include procedural memories, how to ride a bicycle or type on a keyboard, skills you've learned so thoroughly they've become automatic. They also include emotional associations, conditioned responses, and perceptual learning. If you feel uncomfortable in hospitals because you had a scary medical experience as a child, that's implicit memory at work. You may not consciously remember the original experience, but the emotional residue remains, influencing your feelings and behaviors. Studies have shown that implicit memories can be incredibly persistent and powerful. In one famous experiment, people with severe amnesia, unable to form new explicit memories, were repeatedly shown the same puzzle. Each day, they had no conscious memory of ever seeing the puzzle before, yet their performance improved steadily over days. Their subconscious mind was learning, storing the skill, even though their conscious mind had no awareness of the previous encounters. The subconscious also engages in what's called memory consolidation, especially during sleep. When you sleep, your brain doesn't shut down. It enters a different mode of processing. During certain sleep stages, particularly slow wave sleep and REM sleep, your brain replays experiences from the day, strengthening important memories and discarding trivial information. This consolidation process happens entirely outside conscious awareness. Research has demonstrated that sleep-dependent memory consolidation can even enhance problem-solving abilities. People who work on a difficult problem, then sleep on it, often wake with sudden insights or solutions. The subconscious mind, given time and freedom from conscious interference, continues working on the problem, exploring connections, testing possibilities. The phrase "sleep on it" turns out to have solid neuroscientific backing. False memories reveal just how reconstructive and fallible memory can be. Your subconscious doesn't necessarily distinguish between what actually happened and what you've imagined, heard about, or been told. Each time you recall a memory, you're not pulling up a fixed recording. You're rebuilding the memory from scattered pieces, and in the rebuilding, details can change, especially if the memory is old or has been recalled many times. Psychologists have demonstrated that it's surprisingly easy to implant false memories. In studies, researchers have convinced people they were lost in a shopping mall as children, or that they shook hands with Bugs Bunny at Disneyland, neither of which happened, but both of which the subjects came to vividly remember. The subconscious fills in gaps, creates coherent narratives, and doesn't always flag the difference between memory and imagination. Traumatic memories operate differently. The amygdala can create what researchers call flashbulb memories, vivid, emotionally charged recollections of significant events. These memories feel incredibly clear and accurate, but research shows they're just as vulnerable to distortion as ordinary memories. The intensity of emotion doesn't guarantee accuracy. What it does guarantee is that the memory will be deeply encoded, that the subconscious will hold on to it, sometimes too tightly, replaying it in nightmares, triggered by reminders, resistant to fading. Some memories are entirely subconscious, never rising to conscious awareness at all. These are often called implicit or unconscious memories. They influence your preferences, biases, and reactions without you knowing why. If you inexplicably dislike a certain perfume, It might be because someone who hurt you wore that scent. Your subconscious remembers the association, even if you don't consciously recall the connection. Every experience you've ever had is, in some sense, stored in your brain. Most of it isn't accessible, at least not directly. The vast library of your life resides in the subconscious, and only a tiny fraction can be brought into conscious awareness at any given moment. This creates an interesting paradox. You are shaped by experiences you can't remember, influenced by events you've forgotten, carrying within you a history that's mostly hidden, even from yourself. Dreams, the subconscious theater. Dreams are perhaps the most familiar window into the subconscious mind. For thousands of years, humans have been fascinated by dreams, seeing in them messages from gods, prophecies of the future, or symbolic representations of hidden truths. Modern neuroscience has demystified dreams to some extent, revealing them as natural products of brain activity during sleep, but they remain strange, compelling, and revealing in ways we're still working to fully understand. Dreaming occurs primarily during REM sleep, though dreams can happen during other sleep stages too. During REM, your brain is intensely active, almost as active as when you're awake, but your body is largely paralyzed, a safety mechanism that prevents you from acting out dream content. Your eyes move rapidly beneath closed lids, scanning the imaginary landscapes your subconscious constructs. The content of dreams draws heavily from recent experiences. Researchers have identified what they call the day residue effect, where elements from your waking life, especially from the past day or two, show up in dreams. But dreams don't simply replay events. They remix them, combining fragments from different times, different contexts, creating surreal narratives that often make little logical sense, but carry emotional weight and symbolic meaning. One prominent theory suggests that dreams serve a memory consolidation function. During sleep, your subconscious appears to sort through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep, what to discard, and how to integrate new information with existing knowledge. Dreams may reflect the conscious experience of this subconscious sorting process, a kind of collage created as different memory networks are activated and tested. While the exact function of dreams remains debated among researchers, evidence increasingly supports their role in processing emotional experiences and integrating memories. Studies have found intriguing connections between dream content and subsequent performance. In one experiment, participants learned to navigate a virtual maze. Those who later reported dreaming about the maze showed notably greater improvement in navigating it than those who didn't dream about it. This suggests that when the subconscious incorporates learning tasks into dreams, it may be actively processing and optimizing that information, though the mechanisms remain an active area of research. Dreams also appear to play a role in emotional regulation. Research at the University of California, Irvine, found that people who reported dreaming showed better processing of emotional memories. Dreams seemed to help the subconscious work through intense feelings, reducing the emotional charge of difficult experiences. This is sometimes called the overnight therapy effect. You go to sleep troubled, and you wake feeling somewhat better, your subconscious having processed and partially resolved the emotional distress. Nightmares represent the darker side of this process. When the subconscious is grappling with trauma, fear, or unresolved conflict, dreams can become frightening and distressing. Recurring nightmares often signal that the subconscious is stuck, trying again and again to process an experience or emotion that remains overwhelming. The nightmare is, in a sense, the subconscious mind's attempt at healing, even if the experience feels terrible. Lucid dreaming is a fascinating phenomenon where you become aware that you're dreaming while the dream is still happening. In this state, Some people can even exert control over the dream, changing the narrative, confronting fears, or simply exploring the dream world with conscious intent. Lucid dreaming has been studied as a potential therapeutic tool, allowing people to face and reshape frightening dream content, essentially negotiating directly with their subconscious. The emotional content of dreams is often exaggerated and distorted. You might dream of a minor annoyance as a terrifying threat, or a small success as a triumphant victory. This amplification may serve a purpose. Emotions are a primary concern of the subconscious. By intensifying feelings in dreams, your subconscious may be signaling what matters, what needs attention, what unresolved issues are still active beneath the surface. Symbols in dreams have been the subject of countless interpretations, from Freud's sexual symbolism to Jung's archetypal imagery. While there's no universal dream dictionary that works for everyone, symbols in dreams often do represent something beyond their literal content. A house might represent the self. Water might symbolize emotions. Being chased could reflect avoidance of something in waking life. The subconscious thinks in metaphors and associations, not literal logic. Some researchers believe dreams have no inherent meaning, that they're simply random neural activity that consciousness tries to make sense of upon waking. This is called the activation synthesis theory. Even if this is true, the stories you construct from that random activity can still be revealing. Your subconscious chooses how to interpret the neural noise, and those choices reflect your concerns, fears, desires, and mental state. Most dreams are forgotten within minutes of waking. Your subconscious may not intend for you to remember them. They served their purpose during sleep, processing emotions and consolidating memories, and now consciousness needs to focus on the new day. Only dreams from the final REM cycle before waking, or dreams that wake you up, tend to be remembered at all. The rest dissolve, their work complete, their content returned to the subconscious depths, the habit engine. Habits are the subconscious mind's way of conserving energy and streamlining behavior. Your brain, despite being only about 2% of your body weight, consumes roughly 20% of your energy. To be efficient, your brain automates as much as possible, turning repeated actions into habits that require minimal conscious attention. This is why you can brush your teeth while planning your day, or drive to work without remembering the journey. Neuroscientists have identified a basic structure underlying habit formation called the habit loop. It consists of 3 components. First, there's a cue, a trigger in your environment or mental state that initiates the habit. Second, there's the routine, the actual behavior or thought pattern. Third, there's the reward, something that satisfies a craving or provides a payoff, reinforcing the loop so it will run again next time the cue appears. Let's say you always have a coffee when you arrive at work. The cue is arriving at your desk. The routine is brewing or buying coffee. The reward is the caffeine boost and the comforting ritual. After enough repetitions, this sequence becomes automatic. You don't decide to have coffee. You just find yourself doing it. Your subconscious has encoded the pattern. The basal ganglia, deep in your brain, is the primary structure responsible for habit storage. When you first learn a new behavior, your prefrontal cortex, the seat of conscious decision-making, is heavily involved. But as the behavior is repeated, activity shifts. To the basal ganglia, the pattern gets encoded there, freeing up your prefrontal cortex for other tasks. This is why habits are so powerful and so hard to change. They're not really under conscious control anymore. Research on habit formation suggests considerable variation in how long it takes for a new behavior to become automatic. A well-known study found an average of about 66 days, though individual experiences ranged widely from as few as 18 days to over 250 days, depending on the complexity of the behavior and the person. During this formation period, the behavior still requires conscious effort and attention. But once the habit is fully established in the subconscious, it runs with minimal cognitive input. You can perform the habit while thinking about something else entirely. Bad habits form just as readily as good ones. If you habitually check your phone when you feel bored or reach for a snack when stressed, these patterns encode in your subconscious through the same mechanism. The reward might be a brief distraction, a moment of pleasure, or simply relief from discomfort. Even if the habit isn't serving your long-term goals, if it provides some immediate reward, the subconscious will automate it. Breaking a habit is notoriously difficult because you're working against subconscious programming. Simply trying to stop the behavior often fails because the cue routine reward loop is so deeply encoded. More effective strategies involve identifying the cue and the reward, then substituting a new routine that provides the same reward. You're not fighting the habit loop, you're hacking it, giving your subconscious a new routine that satisfies the same craving. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form new neural connections and reorganize existing ones throughout life. This is good news for habit change. It means your subconscious programming isn't permanent. With conscious effort and repetition, you can create new neural pathways, weakening old habits and strengthening new ones. It takes time and patience, but the subconscious is malleable, capable of learning new patterns at any age. Willpower alone is rarely enough to overcome entrenched habits. Willpower is a function of the prefrontal cortex, your conscious mind, and it's a limited resource that depletes with use. When you're tired, stressed, or overwhelmed, willpower fails, and the subconscious habits reassert themselves. This is why changes made through sheer determination often don't last. You need to work with the subconscious, not simply try to overpower it. Visualization is a technique that leverages the subconscious mind's inability to fully distinguish between real and imagined experiences. Athletes have used visualization for decades, mentally rehearsing perfect performances. This mental practice actually activates many of the same neural pathways as physical practice, strengthening the subconscious programming. If you vividly imagine performing a new behavior, you're beginning to encode it, making it easier to execute in reality. Environmental design is another powerful approach. Since habits are triggered by cues, changing your environment removes or alters those cues. If you're trying to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to exercise more, keep your workout clothes visible. You're working with your subconscious, creating cues for desired behaviors and removing cues for unwanted ones. It's often easier to change your surroundings than to change your mind. Habits stack upon each other. Once one behavior is automatic, you can attach a new behavior to it, using the established habit as a cue. If you already have a solid morning coffee habit, you might add a new habit of doing 5 minutes of stretching while the coffee brews. The existing habit provides the cue and structure, making it easier for the subconscious to encode the new pattern. The early years, programming the subconscious. Childhood is when the subconscious mind does much of its foundational programming. In early years, before critical thinking and conscious evaluation fully develop, children absorb beliefs, rules, and patterns directly into the subconscious. This creates what some psychologists call the subconscious rule book, a set of assumptions about yourself, other people, and the world that operates largely outside conscious awareness, but profoundly influences adult behavior. A child's brain is extraordinarily plastic, forming millions of neural connections every day, based on experience and environment. The subconscious is learning constantly, observing patterns, encoding emotional associations, building mental models of how the world works. Much of this happens through observation and emotional experience rather than explicit instruction. Children don't just hear what adults tell them. They feel the emotional climate, watch how people interact, sense what's safe and what's dangerous. Attachment theory describes how early relationships with caregivers shape subconscious templates for all future relationships. A child with consistent, responsive caregivers develops what's called secure attachment, a subconscious expectation that others are trustworthy and relationships are safe. This becomes a blueprint, influencing adult relationships decades later, operating beneath awareness, affecting who you're drawn to and how you behave in intimate connections. Conversely, if early caregiving is inconsistent, neglectful, or abusive, the subconscious encodes insecure attachment patterns. A child might develop an anxious attachment style, subconsciously believing they're unworthy of love and constantly seeking reassurance. Or they might develop avoidant attachment, subconsciously learning that closeness is dangerous and independence is safer. These patterns can persist into adulthood, creating relationship difficulties that the conscious mind struggles to understand or change. Traumatic experiences in childhood have particularly powerful and lasting effects on the subconscious. A child's brain is not fully equipped to process overwhelming fear, pain, or confusion. When trauma occurs, the experience gets encoded differently than normal memories. It may be stored in fragmented sensory form, smell, sound, physical sensation, without a coherent narrative. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, may become hypersensitive, reacting to reminders of the trauma long after the original event. The subconscious mind's primary job is protection. When it registers a threat, it encodes that information deeply so you'll recognize and avoid similar situations in the future. But this protective mechanism can become maladaptive. If you were bitten by a dog as a child, your subconscious might generalize that experience, making you fearful of all dogs, even friendly ones. The fear response is automatic, triggered before conscious thought can evaluate whether the specific dog is actually dangerous. Repressed memories remain one of the most debated topics in psychology. The concept suggests that traumatic experiences can be pushed entirely out of conscious awareness as a defense mechanism, but remain active in the subconscious, influencing behavior and emotion. While some therapists and patients report experiences consistent with recovered memories of childhood trauma, memory researchers have also documented cases where false memories were inadvertently created through suggestive questioning or therapeutic techniques. The truth appears complex. Some degree of forgetting childhood experiences is entirely normal, as the brain doesn't fully develop autobiographical memory capacity until around age 3 or 4. Whether specific traumatic memories can be completely repressed and then accurately recovered remains an area where clinical observations and experimental research sometimes appear to conflict, and the scientific community continues to investigate these questions carefully. What's clear is that childhood experiences, whether remembered or not, shape the subconscious in profound ways. The beliefs you formed about yourself as a child, am I lovable? Am I safe? Am I capable? Are I enough? Often persist in your subconscious long after you consciously know better. An adult who excels professionally might still carry a subconscious belief, formed at age 6, that they're fundamentally inadequate. This creates an internal conflict, conscious success battling subconscious unworthiness. Verbal messages absorbed in childhood become subconscious scripts. If you repeatedly heard "you're so smart," or "you're a problem," or "crying is weak," These statements can embed themselves as core beliefs. Even if you consciously reject them as an adult, they may still operate beneath the surface, influencing how you talk to yourself, how you interpret setbacks, what you believe you deserve. Emotional neglect, though less obvious than physical abuse, can be equally impactful on the subconscious. A child who grows up in an environment where emotions are ignored or dismissed learns to suppress their own feelings, encoding a subconscious rule that emotions are dangerous or shameful. This emotional suppression can persist into adulthood, creating difficulties with self-awareness, intimacy, and mental health. The good news is that the subconscious, while deeply programmed in childhood, is not immutable. Adult experiences, therapy, conscious effort, and new relationships can all create change. Neuroplasticity means your brain continues to form new connections throughout life. You can, with patience and the right approaches, rewrite some of those early subconscious scripts, healing old wounds and building new, healthier patterns. The emotional undercurrent. Emotions arise from the subconscious. By the time you consciously feel an emotion, your subconscious has already processed sensory input, compared it to past experiences, assessed threat or reward, and generated the emotional response. You don't decide to feel afraid or joyful. The feeling simply emerges, a message from the subconscious about your current situation and its implications for your well-being. The amygdala plays a central role in emotional processing, particularly fear and anxiety. It can trigger fight or flight responses in milliseconds, far faster than conscious thought. This is adaptive in genuinely dangerous situations. If you step off a curb and a car is coming, you don't need to consciously deliberate. Your amygdala recognizes the threat and initiates an immediate protective response, jumping back without thinking. But the amygdala doesn't always distinguish between real threats and symbolic ones. A critical email from your boss isn't a physical danger, but your amygdala might react as if it were, triggering stress hormones, increased heart rate, shallow breathing, the same physiological response you'd have to a predator. Your subconscious is responding to the email as a threat to your status, security, or well-being, even though consciously, you know it's just words on a screen. Emotional triggers are often rooted in subconscious associations. You might feel suddenly anxious in a specific location or around a certain type of person without consciously knowing why. Your subconscious recognizes something, a smell, a tone of voice, a physical resemblance that's associated with a past negative experience. The emotion surfaces as a warning, even if the conscious mind can't identify the source of the discomfort. Psychologists talk about emotional schemas, subconscious frameworks that organize how you understand and respond to emotional situations. If your emotional schema around conflict is conflict means abandonment, you might subconsciously escalate or avoid disagreements in ways that don't serve you. These schemas form in childhood and become templates, operating beneath awareness, shaping adult emotional life. The subconscious can also suppress emotions. If expressing anger or sadness wasn't safe in your childhood environment, your subconscious learned to block those emotions, pushing them down before they reach consciousness. As an adult, you might find yourself unable to access certain feelings, even when they'd be appropriate. The suppression has become automatic, a subconscious defense that's now creating problems, rather than solving them. Somatization is the process by which subconscious emotional distress manifests as physical symptoms. Chronic headaches, digestive problems, unexplained pain. These can all be your body's way of expressing emotions that the conscious mind is not acknowledging. The subconscious speaks through the body when it can't speak through conscious awareness. The symptoms are real, not imaginary, but their roots are emotional rather than purely physical. Emotional regulation, the ability to manage intense feelings, involves both conscious strategies and subconscious processes. Deep breathing, for example, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling the subconscious that you're safe, which helps calm the amygdala. Mindfulness practices work by bringing conscious awareness to subconscious processes, observing emotions without being swept away by them, gradually training the subconscious to respond less reactively. Positive emotions also arise from the subconscious: joy, love, contentment. These emerge when the subconscious assesses that you're safe, connected, or successful in some way. You can't force yourself to feel happy through willpower alone, but you can create conditions that allow positive, subconscious emotional responses through relationships, meaningful activity, physical health, and environments that feel safe and nurturing. The emotional memory system is incredibly persistent. Experiences with strong emotional content are encoded more deeply in the subconscious than neutral events. This is why you can remember exactly where you were on the day of a major news event or a personal milestone, but can't recall what you had for lunch 3 Tuesdays ago. Emotion signals importance to the subconscious, causing it to strengthen those neural pathways. Sometimes the subconscious generates emotions in response to internal states rather than external events. Hormone fluctuations, blood sugar levels, sleep deprivation, all can influence your subconscious emotional state. You might feel anxious or irritable for reasons that have nothing to do with what's actually happening in your life. Your conscious mind then searches for explanations, often attributing the feeling to external causes, when the real source is your internal physiological state. Understanding that emotions arise subconsciously doesn't mean you're helpless. It means you can approach your feelings with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of, "Why am I being so ridiculous?" you can ask, "What is my subconscious trying to tell me?" This shift creates space for self-compassion and insight, allowing you to work with your emotions rather than fighting against them. Intuition, the subconscious advisor. Intuition is the subconscious mind's way of delivering information to consciousness without the supporting logic or evidence being accessible. It arrives as a feeling, a hunch, a sudden knowing. You can't explain why you feel it, but the feeling is strong, sometimes overwhelming. This is your subconscious, which has been processing information, recognizing patterns, making connections, now sending a message to your conscious awareness. The term gut feeling is more soul than metaphor. The enteric nervous system, sometimes called the second brain, is a network of neurons lining your digestive tract. This system communicates constantly with your brain through the vagus nerve and other pathways. When you feel butterflies in your stomach or a sense of unease in your gut, that's partly your enteric nervous system responding to subconscious emotional processing. The gut-brain connection is remarkably sophisticated. Your digestive system contains what researchers estimate to be around 100 million neurons, possibly more than are found in either the spinal cord or the peripheral nervous system. These neurons can operate semi-independently of the brain, controlling digestion, but they're also in constant communication with your central nervous system, sending signals upward and receiving signals downward. This bidirectional communication means that your brain state affects your gut, which is why stress can cause digestive problems, and your gut state affects your brain, which may help explain why digestive discomfort can influence mood and cognition. Research shows that the subconscious can pick up on subtle cues that consciousness misses. In studies of body language and facial expressions, people were able to make accurate judgments about whether someone was lying or trustworthy based on micro-expressions lasting just fractions of a second. They couldn't consciously identify what tipped them off. They just had a feeling. Their subconscious had registered and interpreted cues too fleeting for conscious analysis. These micro-expressions are involuntary facial movements that occur in less than 1/5 of a second. They reveal true emotions that a person might be trying to conceal. Someone might be smiling and saying they're fine, but a brief flash of sadness or fear might cross their face, gone almost before it appeared. Your conscious mind might miss it entirely, but your subconscious registers it, processes it, and generates a feeling that something isn't quite right, that this person isn't being entirely honest or isn't really feeling what they're claiming to feel. Intuition is particularly strong in areas where you have expertise. A chess master can glance at a board and instantly know the best move, not through conscious analysis, but through pattern recognition. Their subconscious has stored thousands of games, millions of positions, and can instantly compare the current board to that vast database. This is why experts in any field often say they trust their gut. Their subconscious expertise is often more reliable than conscious deliberation because it's drawing on far more information than consciousness can hold simultaneously. A doctor with decades of experience might look at a patient and immediately sense that something is seriously wrong, even if the symptoms don't clearly point to a specific diagnosis. The doctor's subconscious has seen thousands of patients and has learned to recognize patterns, clusters of subtle signs that individually might mean nothing, but together suggest a particular condition. The doctor might not be able to articulate why they're concerned. They might say, "I just have a bad feeling about this patient." But that feeling is their subconscious expertise, pattern matching against decades of accumulated experience. However, intuition is not infallible. It can be biased by your subconscious assumptions, prejudices, and past experiences. If your subconscious has learned patterns that aren't actually valid, or if it's making connections based on stereotypes or limited experience, your intuition can lead you astray. This is why critical thinking and conscious analysis remain important. Intuition should inform decisions, not replace thoughtful consideration. The subconscious mind can process vast amounts of sensory information simultaneously. You walk into a room and immediately feel welcome or uncomfortable, safe or threatened, even though you can't articulate why. Your subconscious has registered dozens or hundreds of cues in seconds: lighting, sounds, facial expressions, body language, and synthesized them into an overall assessment that reaches consciousness as a feeling. The individual cues might not have been consciously perceived at all. You didn't consciously notice that people's faces tightened slightly when you entered, or that the room temperature was uncomfortably warm, or that there was a subtle chemical smell in the air, or that the arrangement of furniture created an unwelcoming sense of distance. But your subconscious noticed all of it, integrated it, and delivered a summary judgment. This space doesn't feel safe. People high in what researchers call subconscious connectedness report more frequent intuitive experiences. These are individuals who seem to have a more permeable boundary between conscious and subconscious processing. They're more aware of their internal states, more attuned to subtle feelings and impressions. Research published in 2025 found that people with high subconscious connectedness also reported more anomalous experiences, like premonitions and déjà vu, suggesting they may be more sensitive to subconscious pattern matching. Déjà vu itself may involve a kind of mismatch in subconscious processing. One theory suggests that your subconscious recognizes a pattern or element of a situation that reminds it of something from the past, and this recognition signal reaches consciousness slightly out of sync with the normal flow of perception. The result is a brief, eerie sense that you've experienced this exact moment before. Rather than literal precognition or memory, this explanation suggests déjà vu arises when the brain's familiarity detection system fires inappropriately, creating the uncanny feeling of recognition without actual recollection. Though researchers continue to study this phenomenon, it appears to reflect the complex timing and coordination involved in conscious experience. Premonitions, the feeling that something is about to happen, might reflect the subconscious extrapolating from patterns it has observed. If you have an uneasy feeling about a relationship or a business deal, it could be because your subconscious has registered warning signs, subtle inconsistencies, or concerning patterns that your conscious mind hasn't yet fully processed. What feels like a premonition may actually be a subconscious prediction based on information you've absorbed without realizing it. Sometimes these intuitive predictions prove accurate because the subconscious has correctly identified meaningful patterns. Other times, they're false alarms because the subconscious is pattern matching against past situations that aren't actually relevant to the current one. This naturalistic explanation doesn't require any supernatural mechanism, just the brain's powerful but imperfect pattern recognition capabilities. Learning to listen to intuition without being ruled by it is a valuable skill. Mindfulness practices help with this. By cultivating awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations, you develop the ability to notice intuitive signals without immediately acting on them. You create a space where you can acknowledge the feeling, thank your subconscious for the input, and then consciously evaluate whether the intuition seems reliable in this particular situation. Sometimes intuition should be trusted. If you're walking alone at night and something feels wrong, listening to that feeling could keep you safe. Your subconscious may have picked up on genuine threat cues that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed. In situations where you need to make a quick decision with limited information, intuition can be a valuable guide. But in other situations, especially those involving important decisions with time to consider, intuition should be one input among many, considered alongside facts, logic, and the perspectives of others. Dreams can be a rich source of intuitive insight. The subconscious continues processing problems and exploring possibilities while you sleep. You might wake with a sudden solution to a problem you'd been struggling with, or a new perspective on a difficult situation. This is your subconscious, freed from the constraints and distractions of waking consciousness, making connections and discoveries on its own. Thomas Edison and Salvador Dali both famously used the liminal state between waking and sleeping to access creative insights, holding objects that would fall and wake them as they drifted off, allowing them to capture the unusual associations and ideas that arose in that transition. The subconscious and language. Language is processed both consciously and subconsciously, and the subconscious aspects of linguistic understanding are fascinating and powerful. When you read or hear a sentence, the meaning seems to arrive instantly. You don't consciously parse the grammar, identify the parts of speech, look up each word in your mental dictionary. All of that happens automatically, subconsciously, with such speed and efficiency that you're simply aware of the meaning, not the process of extracting it. Your subconscious is constantly monitoring language for emotional tone, social cues, and hidden meanings. You can often tell if someone is being sarcastic, even though their literal words might mean something else, because your subconscious registers vocal tone, facial expression, context, and delivers the true meaning to consciousness. You know they don't mean what they're saying, even though they said it. Slips of the tongue, what Freud called Freudian slips, supposedly reveal subconscious thoughts and desires. While Freud's specific interpretations are often disputed, it's true that speech errors can reflect preoccupying thoughts or associations. If you've been thinking about someone and then accidentally use their name when referring to someone else, that's your subconscious preoccupation breaking through into conscious expression. The subconscious is preparing multiple possible utterances simultaneously, and sometimes the wrong one gets selected for actual production. Priming effects demonstrate how subconscious exposure to words or concepts can influence subsequent behavior. In classic studies, people who were subtly exposed to words related to old age, words like grey, wrinkle, Florida, subsequently walked more slowly when leaving the lab, even though they had no conscious awareness of the priming. Their subconscious had been activated with the concept of elderly people, and this activated concept influenced their physical behavior without conscious mediation. Subliminal messaging, exposure to words or images too brief to be consciously perceived, has been studied extensively. The effects are generally subtle and short-lived, not nearly as powerful as pop culture sometimes suggests. You can't be mind-controlled by hidden messages in advertisements, but subliminal exposure can create small biases and preferences. If you're briefly shown a word or image that creates positive affect, you might subsequently prefer things associated with that effect, even though you never consciously saw the original stimulus. Your reading ability is almost entirely subconscious. Skilled readers don't sound out each letter or even focus on each word. Your eyes jump around the text in rapid movements, called saccades, fixating briefly on some words and skipping others entirely. Your subconscious is filling in the gaps, predicting upcoming words based on context, constructing meaning from partial information. This is why you can still read text where the middle letters of each word are scrambled, as long as the first and last letters are correct. Your subconscious isn't reading letter by letter. It's recognizing word shapes and using context to infer meaning. The internal voice you hear when you read silently is a fascinating phenomenon called subvocalization. Most people, when reading, hear the words in their mind as if they're being spoken. This subvocalization is your subconscious activating the same neural circuits involved in actual speech, but inhibiting the motor output so you don't speak aloud. Some speed reading techniques try to eliminate subvocalization to increase reading speed, though this is controversial, as the inner voice may serve important comprehension functions. Your subconscious can process multiple streams of language simultaneously. At a loud party, you can focus your conscious attention on the person you're talking to, but your subconscious is monitoring other conversations. If someone across the room says your name, you'll probably notice it, even though you weren't consciously listening to that conversation. This is called the cocktail party effect, and it demonstrates that your subconscious is processing multiple auditory streams, filtering for relevance, and alerting consciousness when something important appears. Metaphorical language is particularly rich with subconscious content. When someone says, "I'm in a dark place," or "things are looking up," they're not talking literally about physical location or visual perception. They're using spatial and visual metaphors to describe emotional or life states. Your subconscious understands these metaphors instantly, translating between the literal meaning and the intended emotional meaning without conscious effort. In fact, research suggests that processing metaphorical language activates the same brain regions involved in experiencing the literal version of the metaphor, suggesting that metaphor understanding is deeply embodied in subconscious sensory motor systems. The subconscious and creativity. Creativity feels mysterious, like ideas arrive from nowhere, fully formed. But creativity is actually a subconscious process, one that draws on vast stores of knowledge, experience, and association to generate novel combinations and insights. The aha moment of sudden inspiration is the conscious awareness of work that the subconscious has been doing in the background, often for hours, days, or even weeks. The creative process often involves an incubation period. You work on a problem intensely, then step away, do something else, maybe sleep on it. During this away time, your subconscious continues working. It's exploring connections, trying combinations, searching for patterns. Then, when you return to the problem, or sometimes when you're not thinking about it at all, a solution or idea suddenly appears in consciousness. This is subconscious incubation bearing fruit. Many famous creative breakthroughs have been attributed to this process. The chemist Auguste Kekulé famously reported discovering the ring structure of benzene after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail, though historians debate the literal accuracy of this account. The neurobiologist Otto Loewy is said to have dreamed the design for an experiment that proved chemical transmission at nerve synapses, work that contributed to his Nobel Prize. Whether these stories are precisely accurate or somewhat embellished over time, they reflect a genuine phenomenon. Subconscious minds steeped in relevant problems can generate insights during sleep or rest, churning through possibilities while consciousness steps aside. Divergent thinking, the ability to generate multiple solutions to open-ended problems, seems to rely heavily on subconscious processes. When you brainstorm, you're not consciously constructing each idea from scratch. Ideas bubble up from the subconscious. Your job is to notice them, evaluate them, refine them. The more you quiet your conscious, critical mind, the more freely the subconscious can generate possibilities. There's a reason many people report having their best ideas in the shower, or while walking, or just before falling asleep. These are times when conscious attention is relaxed, not focused on any demanding task. The subconscious has more freedom in these moments, more ability to make unusual connections that the conscious mind might dismiss as irrelevant or silly. Many meditation practices specifically aim to cultivate this state, a relaxed awareness where the subconscious can offer up its contents without harsh judgment from conscious thought. Artistic creation often feels like channeling something from beyond yourself, but it's really your subconscious at work. A painter doesn't consciously calculate the perfect placement of every brushstroke. A musician doesn't consciously plan every note and chord progression. A writer doesn't consciously construct every sentence. These creative acts flow from subconscious skill and intuition, built up through years of practice and experience, now operating automatically. The conscious mind guides the overall direction and evaluates the results, but the actual generation of creative expression is subconscious. The subconscious construction of reality. What you perceive as objective reality is actually a subconscious construction, a mental model built from sensory input, memory, and expectation. Your brain doesn't simply record what's out there, it actively constructs your experience of the world, filling in gaps, making predictions, interpreting ambiguous information, all largely outside conscious awareness. Vision feels immediate and direct, like you're simply seeing what's there. But the visual system is doing extraordinary amounts of subconscious processing. Light hits your retinas, generating electrical signals. These signals travel through several processing stages in the retina itself, then in various brain structures, being analyzed for edges, colors, motion, depth. By the time you consciously see an object, your subconscious has already done massive interpretive work, constructing a three-dimensional understanding from two-dimensional input. Your brain doesn't just passively receive visual information, it makes predictions about what it expects to see, based on past experience and current context. When prediction and sensory input match, you experience smooth, effortless perception. When they don't match, there's a moment of surprise or confusion as your subconscious updates its model. This is why optical illusions work. They create situations where your subconscious predictions don't match the actual stimulus, revealing the gap between reality and your constructed experience. The blind spot demonstrates subconscious construction beautifully. There's a place in each eye where the optic nerve exits the retina, leaving a spot with no photoreceptors. You should see a hole in your visual field at that location, but you don't. Your subconscious fills in the blind spot with whatever seems most likely to be there based on surrounding context. You never notice the gap because your subconscious seamlessly patches it, creating a continuous visual experience from discontinuous input. Change blindness is another fascinating phenomenon. In studies, people fail to notice substantial changes in a scene or image if the change occurs during a brief disruption like a blink or camera cut. Someone's shirt might change color between shots, or a major object might appear or disappear, and viewers often don't notice, even when explicitly looking for changes. This reveals that you're not consciously aware of everything you see. Your subconscious selects what to attend to, and much of the visual field is processed only cursorily, with full detail constructed only for the areas of focused attention. Attention itself is largely subconscious. Right now, your attention is focused on these words, or perhaps drifting to other thoughts. But you didn't consciously decide to focus your attention on this particular stimulus while ignoring others. Your subconscious directed your attention based on relevance, novelty, and emotional significance. If a loud sound suddenly occurred, your attention would snap to it automatically. Your subconscious redirects attention faster than consciousness can deliberate about where to look. The cocktail party effect, mentioned earlier, shows how your subconscious processes all auditory input, but filters most of it from conscious awareness. At a party, you can follow one conversation while dozens of others occur around you. Your subconscious is monitoring all those conversations at some level. If something personally relevant appears in a conversation you weren't consciously attending to, like your name, your attention shifts to it immediately. The subconscious has been listening the whole time, filtering for significance. Expectation profoundly shapes perception. In a famous study, wine experts rated the same wine differently depending on whether they were told it was expensive or cheap. Their subconscious expectations, based on price information, actually altered their taste perception. The wine was identical, but their experience of it changed. This isn't fakery or pretension. Their subconscious really constructed a different taste experience based on context and expectation. Pain perception is also heavily influenced by subconscious processing. The same injury can feel more or less painful depending on context, emotional state, and expectation. Soldiers in combat sometimes don't notice significant injuries until after the action, because the subconscious is suppressing pain signals in a life-threatening situation where pain might be distracting and dangerous. The injury is real, but the conscious experience of pain is modulated by subconscious assessment of the situation. The placebo effect, discussed earlier, is another example of subconscious construction. Your expectation that a treatment will work triggers real physiological changes. Your subconscious somehow translates belief into biological response. This isn't imagination or wishful thinking. Measurable changes occur in pain processing, immune function, and neurochemistry, driven by subconscious expectation. Memory, as we've discussed, is reconstructive rather than reproductive. Each time you recall a memory, you're not playing back a recording. You're subconsciously reconstructing an experience from stored fragments, filling in details, smoothing rough edges, creating a coherent narrative. This means your memories are constantly being subtly revised, updated, influenced by current knowledge and beliefs. The past you remember is a construction, and it changes each time you remember it. Time perception is subconscious. The feeling that time is passing quickly or slowly is constructed by your mind, not an objective property of time itself. When you're engaged and focused, time seems to fly. When you're bored or anxious, time drags. This is your subconscious judging the passage of time based on how much you're paying attention to it and how much novel information you're processing. Time feels longer when you're having new experiences because your subconscious is encoding more information, creating more memories per unit of clock time. Your sense of self is arguably the most important subconscious construction. The continuous, coherent identity you experience, the feeling that you're the same person you were yesterday and will be tomorrow, is maintained by subconscious processes. Every night you sleep, consciousness shuts down, yet you wake feeling like the same continuous self. This continuity is constructed through memory and narrative, your subconscious weaving your experiences into an ongoing story with you as the protagonist. The left hemisphere of the brain has been called the interpreter because it seems to specialize in creating coherent narratives. When the left hemisphere receives information about actions initiated by the right hemisphere, information it didn't consciously have, it instantly generates an explanation for those actions. It creates a story that makes sense of behavior, even when that story is completely fabricated. This interpreter function operates subconsciously, constantly generating explanations for your experiences and actions, creating the sense that you understand yourself and your behavior, even when that understanding is post hoc rationalization. Emotions color perception in powerful ways. When you're anxious, neutral situations seem more threatening. When you're happy, the same events that might annoy you on a bad day seem trivial. Your emotional state, largely subconscious, acts as a filter on perception, biasing your interpretation of events. Two people can experience the exact same situation and come away with completely different impressions because their subconscious emotional filters constructed different experiences from the same objective input. Cultural conditioning shapes subconscious perception. People from different cultures literally see and remember things differently. Studies have shown that people from Western cultures tend to focus attention on central objects in a scene, while people from East Asian cultures attend more to context and relationships between elements. These are subconscious attentional biases, learned through cultural experience, shaping what each person notices and remembers about the same stimulus. The concept of motivated perception suggests that your desires and fears can influence what you subconsciously allow into awareness. Studies have found that people are slower to recognize threatening information if they're anxious about it, a phenomenon called perceptual defense. The subconscious seems to be protecting consciousness from information that would be emotionally difficult, filtering reality to make it more bearable. This can be adaptive in the short term, but problematic if it prevents you from confronting necessary truths. Reality as you experience it is not reality as it is. It's reality as your subconscious constructs it, filtered through your senses, your memories, your expectations, your emotions, your cultural conditioning, your current goals and concerns. This isn't a flaw. It's the only way a finite mind can make sense of an infinitely complex world. But it means you should hold your perceptions lightly, recognizing that what seems obviously true is actually an interpretation, one that another mind might construct differently. The invisible hand on every decision. You believe you're in control of your choices. You weigh options, consider consequences, make rational decisions. But neuroscience suggests that the reality is far more complex and humbling. Research indicates that approximately 95% of your decisions are made by your subconscious mind. Your conscious awareness of choosing arrives after the subconscious has already selected a course of action. Studies using brain imaging have shown that neural activity predictive of a decision begins in the brain before the person becomes consciously aware of making that decision. In one famous experiment by researcher Benjamin Libet in the 1980s, participants were asked to note the moment they decided to press a button. Brain activity that predicted the button press appeared to occur roughly 300 to 500 milliseconds before participants reported their conscious decision. The subconscious processes appeared to initiate the action before conscious awareness caught up. More recent experiments have explored these findings further. Using pattern recognition algorithms on brain imaging data, some researchers have reported being able to predict simple choices several seconds before participants report consciously making them. While these findings remain a subject of ongoing debate in neuroscience, they suggest that for at least some types of decisions, subconscious processes may be at work before we become aware of choosing. This doesn't necessarily mean that all our choices are predetermined, but rather that the relationship between conscious awareness and decision-making may be more complex than our subjective experience suggests. This doesn't mean free will is an illusion, exactly, but it does mean the relationship between conscious intention and action is more complicated than it feels. Your subconscious is constantly evaluating options, weighing factors, making preliminary choices based on past experience, current needs, and emotional states. By the time you consciously decide, much of the work has already happened beneath awareness. You might feel like you're deliberating, but you're actually experiencing the tail end of a process, or even just witnessing a decision that's already been made. Your consumer behavior is heavily influenced by subconscious processes, and marketers have long recognized this. Some research in consumer psychology has suggested that a substantial majority of buying decisions, with estimates ranging as high as 90% in some studies, may be driven more by subconscious factors like emotional associations and automatic preferences than by purely rational analysis. Price, quality, and features matter, but they often interact with emotional associations, brand familiarity, and subtle psychological triggers. This is why advertising focuses so much on emotional association, attractive imagery, and repetition rather than solely on logical arguments about product features. Color psychology is a well-studied phenomenon. Red tends to create a sense of urgency and excitement, which is why it's used for clearance sales and fast food brands. Blue evokes trust and calm, favored by banks and healthcare companies. Green suggests health and nature, common in organic and environmental products. These associations operate largely subconsciously. You don't consciously think, I trust this brand because their logo is blue, but the color influences your feeling about the brand, and feelings drive decisions. Social proof leverages subconscious conformity. When you see that a product has thousands of positive reviews, or that people like you are buying it, your subconscious receives a signal that this choice is safe and approved. You're biologically wired to pay attention to what the group is doing. Following the crowd was often a survival advantage in ancestral environments, protecting you from dangers the group had learned to avoid and guiding you toward resources the group had discovered. So, your subconscious is tuned to these social cues, even in modern contexts where they're manufactured by marketers. Scarcity tactics work by triggering subconscious fear of missing out. Limited time offer, or only 3 left in stock, creates a sense of urgency that bypasses rational evaluation. Your subconscious doesn't want to lose an opportunity, even if, consciously, you don't actually need the product. The emotional push often wins. Scarcity signals value. Your subconscious reasons. If something is scarce, it must be desirable. Otherwise, why would supplies be limited? Anchoring is a cognitive bias that operates subconsciously. If you see a shirt originally priced at $200 marked down to $100, you perceive it as a bargain, even though you have no idea what the shirt is actually worth. The first price you see becomes an anchor, a reference point that colors your subsequent evaluation. Your subconscious uses it to assess value, even if it's arbitrary or inflated. Merchants know this and regularly set artificially high original prices to make their discounts seem more impressive. Availability bias causes you to overestimate the likelihood of events that come easily to mind. If you recently heard about a plane crash, your subconscious might flag flying as more dangerous than it actually is. Vivid, recent, or emotionally charged information is more available to your subconscious, and it uses this availability as a proxy for probability, even though it's not an accurate measure. Plane crashes are rare but dramatic and widely reported, so they're available in memory. Car accidents are much more common, but rarely make headlines, so they feel less risky, even though statistically, driving is more dangerous than flying. Confirmation bias is your subconscious tendency to notice, remember, and value information that confirms your existing beliefs while ignoring or discounting information that contradicts them. Once your subconscious has adopted a belief or identity, it actively works to maintain that view, filtering reality through a lens that reinforces what you already think. This happens automatically, without conscious intent. You don't deliberately seek confirming evidence and avoid disconfirming evidence. Your subconscious just makes confirming evidence more salient, easier to remember, more persuasive, while making disconfirming evidence seem less relevant, less credible, easier to explain away. The subconscious also influences who you're attracted to, romantically or platonically. Research suggests that people often choose partners who are similar in attractiveness level, a phenomenon called assortative mating. Your subconscious is evaluating potential partners, assessing compatibility, making predictions about relationship success, all while you experience the process as chemistry or just a feeling. Subtle factors like facial symmetry, scent related to immune system compatibility, and even whether someone's features slightly resemble your opposite sex parent can influence attraction, all processed subconsciously. Defaults are incredibly powerful precisely because they work with subconscious inertia. If something is presented as the default option, most people accept it without conscious deliberation. This is why companies make certain choices, like automatic subscription renewal, the default. Your subconscious conserves energy by going with the default unless there's a strong reason to expend effort choosing something different. Countries that make organ donation opt out rather than opt in have dramatically higher donor rates, not because people care more about donation, but because most people accept whatever the default is. Understanding that your subconscious is driving many decisions can actually increase your agency. It allows you to question your impulses, to notice when you're being influenced by marketing tactics or cognitive biases, to slow down and bring conscious awareness to important choices. You can't eliminate subconscious influence, nor would you want to. It's far too important and useful. But you can learn to recognize and work with it. Noticing when a decision feels rushed or emotionally driven, pausing to consider whether your subconscious might be responding to irrelevant factors, reprogramming, changing the code. The subconscious mind is powerful, but it's not unchangeable. Neuroplasticity, The brain's ability to form new neural connections throughout life means your subconscious programming can be modified. This is the basis of all therapy, habit change, and personal growth. You're not stuck with the patterns and beliefs encoded in childhood. You can, with intention and practice, rewrite the subconscious script. Awareness is the first step. Many subconscious patterns operate completely outside consciousness. You can't change what you don't know is there. This is why therapy, journaling, and reflection are so valuable. They bring subconscious content into the light, where you can examine it, understand its origins, and decide whether it still serves you. Cognitive behavioral therapy is built on the idea that subconscious thought patterns can be brought into consciousness and challenged. By identifying automatic thoughts, those instant subconscious interpretations of events, you can evaluate whether they're accurate or distorted. If you automatically think, "I'm going to fail," when facing a challenge, CBT helps you question that thought, gather evidence for and against it, and generate alternative, more balanced interpretations. Affirmations work by repetition, gradually encoding new beliefs in the subconscious. Your subconscious learns through pattern and frequency. If you consciously and repeatedly tell yourself, "I am capable, I am worthy, I can handle challenges," over time, these statements begin to compete with older negative beliefs. It's not magic. It's deliberate reprogramming through consistent input. For affirmations to work, they need to be emotionally engaging. The subconscious responds strongly to emotion. Saying words you don't believe won't change anything. But if you can connect with even a small emotional truth in the affirmation, feeling a little of what it would be like if it were fully true, you're engaging the subconscious in a way that can create change. Visualization is another technique that leverages the subconscious inability to fully distinguish between real and imagined experiences. When you vividly imagine performing a skill or achieving a goal, your brain activates many of the same neural pathways as actual performance. Athletes have used this for decades, mentally rehearsing perfect technique, which actually improves physical performance. Hypnotherapy works by inducing a state of focused attention and heightened suggestibility. In this state, the critical, analytical, conscious mind is somewhat bypassed, allowing suggestions to reach the subconscious more directly. A skilled hypnotherapist can help you access subconscious beliefs and memories, reframe them, and install new, healthier patterns. Exposure therapy is effective for phobias and anxiety because it retrains the subconscious through experience. If your subconscious believes elevators are dangerous, no amount of conscious reasoning will change that feeling. But by repeatedly experiencing elevators without harm, in a gradual, controlled way, your subconscious eventually learns that the fear is unfounded. New neural pathways form, encoding safety rather than danger. EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, is a therapy technique that helps reprocess traumatic memories. By recalling the trauma while performing bilateral stimulation, like moving your eyes back and forth, you seem to access the memory in a state that allows it to be reconsolidated with less emotional charge. The subconscious can, in effect, refile the memory, maintaining the information but reducing the pain and fear attached to it. Mindfulness meditation is increasingly recognized as a powerful tool for subconscious reprogramming. By practicing non-judgmental awareness of your thoughts and feelings, you create distance between the subconscious content and your conscious identity. You're not your thoughts. You're the awareness observing them. This perspective shift can reduce the power of negative subconscious patterns. Meditation also increases gray matter in brain regions associated with emotional regulation and self-awareness. Regular practice appears to strengthen neural pathways related to conscious control and weaken pathways related to reactivity and automatic stress responses. You're literally rewiring your brain through repeated practice of conscious awareness. Sleep is crucial for subconscious reprogramming. During sleep, the brain consolidates new learning and experiences. If you're working on changing habits or beliefs, getting adequate sleep allows your subconscious to integrate the new patterns. Sleep deprivation, conversely, strengthens old, automatic responses because your prefrontal cortex, responsible for conscious control, is impaired when you're tired. Patience is essential. Subconscious patterns that formed over years or decades won't change overnight. Neuroplasticity is real, but it's also gradual. Every time you consciously choose a new response, every time you challenge an old belief, you're strengthening new neural pathways. With repetition, those new pathways become stronger, and eventually, the new pattern can become the automatic, subconscious default. The body's hidden language. Your subconscious mind doesn't just influence your thoughts and emotions. It controls your body in ways you rarely consider. Right now, as you listen to these words, your subconscious is regulating your heartbeat, managing your breathing, maintaining your body temperature, coordinating countless physiological processes. You never think about these functions, yet they continue perfectly, managed by the subconscious autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system has two main branches. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the fight or flight response, preparing your body for action when the subconscious perceives threat. The parasympathetic nervous system handles rest and digest functions, calming your body when the subconscious assesses that you're safe. These systems operate entirely outside conscious awareness, constantly adjusting based on subconscious perception of your environment and emotional state. Your posture, facial expressions, and body language are partly subconscious. Research shows that you can often tell how someone is feeling just by watching their body, even if they're trying to hide their emotions. This is because subconscious emotional states leak through in subtle physical cues. Tension in the shoulders, a slight downturn of the mouth, fidgeting hands. These are the subconscious speaking through the body. Interestingly, the relationship between body and mind works in both directions. Not only does your subconscious emotional state affect your posture, but changing your posture can influence your subconscious emotional state. Studies have found that people who adopt expansive, confident postures actually feel more confident. Smiling, even when you don't feel happy, can trigger release of neurotransmitters associated with positive mood. You can, in a sense, fake it until you make it, sending signals to your subconscious through your body. Psychosomatic symptoms are real physical manifestations of subconscious emotional distress. Chronic stress, suppressed anger, unprocessed grief. These can all contribute to physical problems like headaches, digestive issues, muscle tension, even cardiovascular problems. The subconscious is trying to communicate distress, and when emotions can't be expressed mentally, they express themselves physically. The placebo effect demonstrates the subconscious mind's influence over the body. If you believe a treatment will help, even if it's just a sugar pill, your body often responds as if it received real medicine. Your subconscious belief triggers actual physiological changes, releasing endorphins, reducing inflammation, improving symptoms. The mind's expectation shapes the body's reality. This works in reverse too. The nocebo effect occurs when negative expectations lead to negative outcomes. If you believe a medication will have terrible side effects, you're more likely to experience those effects, even if you're given a placebo. Your subconscious belief is powerful enough to create the very symptoms you fear. Body scanning, a mindfulness technique, involves bringing conscious awareness to different parts of your body, noticing sensations, tension, or comfort. This practice can reveal how your subconscious is holding stress or emotion physically. Many people discover, through body scanning, that they clench their jaw, hunch their shoulders, or hold their breath without realizing it. These are subconscious responses to stress, and becoming aware of them is the first step toward change. Breathwork is effective precisely because breathing is controlled by both conscious and subconscious systems. You breathe automatically, but you can also choose to control your breath. Slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling your subconscious that you're safe, which reduces stress hormones and calms the amygdala. You're using conscious control of breath to influence subconscious emotional regulation. Trauma is often described as being held in the body. This isn't metaphorical. Traumatic experiences can create patterns of chronic muscle tension, altered breathing, heightened startle responses, all encoded in the subconscious. Somatic therapies work with the body directly, releasing held tension, completing interrupted defensive responses, allowing the nervous system to reset and the subconscious to process and integrate the trauma. Physical exercise has profound effects on the subconscious mind. Regular exercise reduces activity in the amygdala, your brain's fear center, and strengthens connections to the prefrontal cortex, enhancing conscious emotional regulation. Exercise also stimulates the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports the growth of new neurons and synaptic connections, facilitating neuroplasticity and subconscious reprogramming. Your subconscious is constantly reading other people's body language, even when you're not consciously paying attention. This is why you might feel uneasy around someone who seems friendly, but whose body language is subtly off. Crossed arms, lack of eye contact, tension in their voice. Your subconscious notices these cues and sends a warning, even if you can't articulate what's wrong. The long reach of the subconscious. The subconscious mind influences aspects of your life you might never connect to it. Your preferences, the music you like, the foods you crave, the colors you're drawn to, are all shaped by subconscious associations and memories. A song that was playing during a happy moment in your past might become one of your favorites, not because of the song itself, but because of the emotional association your subconscious has stored. Your sense of self, your identity, is largely a subconscious construct. You have beliefs about who you are, what kind of person you are, what you're capable of. Many of these beliefs were formed in childhood and operate beneath conscious awareness. They influence what you attempt, what you avoid, how you interpret your successes and failures. Self-sabotage often originates in subconscious beliefs that conflict with conscious goals. You consciously want success, but your subconscious believes you don't deserve it, or that success is dangerous, or that you'll be rejected if you outshine others. So your subconscious arranges circumstances, procrastination, anxiety, self-destructive behavior that prevent you from achieving what you consciously desire. It's not that you don't want success. It's that your subconscious is working from a different set of beliefs and priorities. Relationships are a fertile ground for subconscious patterns to play out. You might repeatedly find yourself in similar relationships, attracted to similar types of people, experiencing similar problems. This isn't bad luck. It's your subconscious, following patterns learned in early attachment relationships, seeking the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. Change requires bringing these patterns into conscious awareness and deliberately choosing differently. The subconscious tends to value consistency over growth. Even negative patterns feel safe because they're known. Change, even positive change, can trigger subconscious resistance because it represents uncertainty and risk. This is why people sometimes find themselves unconsciously undermining their own progress, returning to old habits just when things are improving. The subconscious is pulling toward the familiar, the proven, even if it's not actually beneficial. Your worldview, your basic assumptions about reality, are subconsciously maintained. If you grew up in an environment where the world felt dangerous, your subconscious might maintain a vigilant, suspicious stance, even when you're objectively safe. If you grew up with abundance and security, your subconscious might assume resources will always be available, which creates different behaviors and anxieties than someone whose subconscious learns scarcity and competition. Prejudices and biases largely operate at the subconscious level. You might consciously believe in equality and fairness, but still carry subconscious biases formed by cultural messaging, limited exposure, or early learning. The implicit association test reveals these hidden biases by measuring reaction times when people pair different concepts. Many people discover they hold subconscious associations they consciously reject. Becoming aware of subconscious biases is uncomfortable but necessary for change. The subconscious learns from experience and repetition. If you consciously expose yourself to diverse perspectives, question stereotypes, and notice when biased thoughts arise, you're beginning to create new neural pathways. Change is possible, but it requires consistent effort to override years or decades of subconscious programming. The subconscious has no concept of time in the way consciousness does. Past traumatic experiences can feel present to the subconscious. When you're triggered, you're not just remembering the past. Your subconscious is reacting as if the past is happening now, activating the same fear and defense responses. This is why trauma therapy often focuses on helping the subconscious realize that the danger is past, that you're safe now. Your subconscious is always working towards something, usually protection and survival. Understanding this can create compassion for yourself. When you engage in behaviors that don't make sense, that seem self-defeating or irrational, your subconscious is likely following a logic formed earlier, under different circumstances, trying to keep you safe in ways that are no longer adaptive, but were once necessary. Coming to the surface. We've journeyed together through the vast landscape of the subconscious mind, from the billions of operations happening every second beneath your awareness, to the memories stored in neural networks, to the dreams that flicker through your sleeping hours, to the habits that structure your days, to the childhood experiences that continue to echo in your adult life, to the emotions that rise from unknown depths, to the intuitions that guide you, to the invisible influence on every decision, to the possibility of reprogramming this powerful hidden system. What becomes clear in exploring all of this is that you are not simply a conscious mind piloting a body. You are a conscious mind sitting atop an enormous subconscious system, evolved over millions of years, doing most of the work of being alive. Your consciousness is like the captain of a ship, making the big directional decisions. But the ship itself, all its intricate operations, is run by a vast crew working below deck. The crew you rarely see, but upon whom everything depends. The scale of subconscious processing is genuinely humbling. Every moment, billions of neural operations occur. Sensory information floods in from every direction. Internal states are monitored, body temperature, blood chemistry, muscle tension, organ function. Memories are being consolidated, refined, integrated. Emotional associations are being formed or modified. Predictions are being generated about what will happen next. Patterns are being recognized. habits are being executed. All of this happens without conscious awareness or deliberate control, yet it all influences your experience, your behavior, your sense of yourself, and your world. Understanding the subconscious doesn't diminish you, it expands you. When you realize that so much of your experience is shaped by processes outside awareness, you can stop judging yourself so harshly for thoughts, feelings, and impulse you didn't consciously choose. The negative thought that pops into your mind, the anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, the habit you can't seem to break, the attraction or aversion you feel towards certain people. These aren't moral failures or character flaws. They're subconscious processes, learned patterns, automatic responses. You can approach them with curiosity rather than condemnation, understanding rather than shame. You can also begin to work with your subconscious more skillfully, knowing that it responds to repetition, emotion, and association. You can feed it more intentionally. The subconscious is always learning, always updating its models based on experience. Every thought you think, every action you take, every emotion you feel is creating neural patterns, strengthening some pathways and weakening others. You have more influence over this process than you might think, not through force or willpower, but through consistent, patient, compassionate reprogramming. Through practices like meditation, you cultivate the ability to observe your subconscious content without being swept away by it. You notice thoughts arising without believing every thought. You feel emotions without being controlled by every emotion. This observational stance creates space, a gap between stimulus and response where choice can occur. The subconscious still generates its automatic reactions, but consciousness has a moment to evaluate, to decide whether to act on the impulse or let it pass. Through affirmations and visualization, you can deliberately encode new patterns. The subconscious doesn't care whether information is coming from external reality or internal imagination, at least not as much as you might think. Vividly imagined experiences create neural activation similar to real experiences. This is why mental practice improves physical skills, why visualization enhances performance, why affirming new beliefs can gradually make them feel true. You're using the subconscious's plasticity, its ability to learn from experience, and providing it with the experiences you want it to learn from. Through therapy, you can bring old patterns into consciousness, examine their origins, understand their purpose, and choose whether they still serve you. Many subconscious patterns were adaptive once. They protected you, soothed you, helped you survive difficult circumstances. But circumstances change, and what once helped may now hinder. Therapy, particularly approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy, EMDR, or psychodynamic therapy, helps identify these outdated patterns and create new, more adaptive ones. Through journaling and self-reflection, you can decode the messages your subconscious sends: dreams, emotions, physical symptoms. These are the subconscious trying to communicate. Often the message isn't literal. A dream about being chased might represent avoidance of something in waking life. Chronic tension in your shoulders might reflect emotional burdens you're carrying. By paying attention to these signals, reflecting on their possible meanings, you can access subconscious content that would otherwise remain hidden. Through exercise, sleep, and healthy living, you support the physical substrate of your subconscious. The brain is an organ, and like all organs, it functions better with proper care. Exercise increases neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns. Sleep allows consolidation and integration of experiences. Good nutrition provides the building blocks for neurotransmitters and neural structures. Stress management prevents the amygdala from becoming overactive. dominating your subconscious emotional landscape. Taking care of your body is taking care of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious has carried you this far. It's learned from every experience, stored every memory, formed every habit, generated every dream. It's protected you when you were vulnerable, soothed you when you were hurt, warned you of danger, pushed you toward pleasure and connection. It has been with you every moment of your life, working tirelessly in the background, asking nothing, expecting no recognition. Even now, as you listen to these words, your subconscious is regulating your breathing, maintaining your posture, processing the meaning of each sentence, checking for threats in your environment, preparing appropriate responses, all without any conscious direction from you. Perhaps the most profound shift comes from realizing that the subconscious is not separate from you. It is you. The distinction between conscious and subconscious is useful for understanding mental processes, but ultimately, they're all aspects of one mind, one brain, one integrated system. When you're working to change subconscious patterns, you're not fighting against some alien force. You're harmonizing different parts of yourself, bringing your whole mind into greater alignment and coherence. The conversation between conscious and subconscious is ongoing, lifelong. Your consciousness sets intentions, makes plans, chooses values. Your subconscious carries out those intentions through automatic action, generates feelings that inform those plans, embodies those values in habitual behavior. When conscious and subconscious are aligned, life flows. You do what you intend to do. You feel what makes sense to feel. You act in accordance with your values. But when they're misaligned, when conscious goals conflict with subconscious patterns, you experience internal struggle, self-sabotage, confusion about why you keep doing things you don't want to do. Alignment doesn't mean the subconscious simply obeys consciousness. It means the two are in dialogue, each informing the other. Consciousness brings awareness, evaluation, the ability to consider long-term consequences, and abstract principles. Subconscious brings intuition, emotional wisdom, the accumulated learning of all your experiences. When they work together, each contributing its strengths, you have access to your full intelligence, your whole self. This integration is a practice, not a destination. You don't achieve perfect harmony between conscious and subconscious and then maintain it forever. Life is constantly changing, presenting new challenges, triggering old patterns, creating opportunities for learning and growth. The practice is ongoing awareness, continuing willingness to look beneath the surface, persistent effort to understand yourself more fully and compassionately. As you drift towards sleep tonight, your subconscious will continue its work. It will process the information from this day, including everything you've learned here. It will consolidate memories, regulate your body, generate dreams. You don't need to consciously manage any of this. Your subconscious knows what to do. It's been doing it your entire life, every night, without fail. You can trust it, even as you work to understand and sometimes redirect it. And perhaps, having learned about it, you can feel a little gratitude for this hidden partner. For the subconscious mind that remembers your loved ones' faces, that pulls your hand back from a hot stove before you think about it, that generates the dreams that help you work through your fears, that stores the skills you've learned so thoroughly they become automatic, that connects you to intuition and gut feelings, that shapes your emotions and preferences and sense of self. Your subconscious is the foundation of your consciousness, the ocean beneath the island, the 95% doing its work so the 5% can shine. The subconscious is mysterious, powerful, sometimes frustrating, often helpful, and always fascinating. It's the hidden foundation of consciousness, the invisible scaffolding supporting your entire mental life. And now that you know it's there, now that you've explored its territory, you can live with greater awareness of the vast inner world you carry, the ocean beneath the island of consciousness, deep and dark and full of life. You can approach yourself with more compassion, recognizing that you're not always in conscious control, but you're always doing your best with the patterns and programs you have. You can work with your subconscious rather than fighting against it, respecting its power while gently guiding its development. If you found this exploration valuable, if these thoughts have helped you understand yourself a little better, consider subscribing to Whispered Knowledge. There's so much more to discover about the mind, the brain, the cosmos we inhabit, and the consciousness we experience. New journeys await, new mysteries to uncover, always in this gentle, thoughtful way, perfect for ending your day or drifting into sleep. Every video is designed to inform and soothe, to spark curiosity while inviting rest, to expand your understanding while helping you let go. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. May your subconscious process these ideas in whatever way serves you best. May your dreams be restorative and revealing. May you wake tomorrow with new insight into the hidden depths within. And may you treat yourself, in all your conscious and subconscious complexity, with the kindness and curiosity you deserve. You are a marvel, a conscious mind riding atop a subconscious ocean, experiencing this brief, strange, beautiful phenomenon of being aware. Rest well. Dear listener, your subconscious has everything under control. You can let go now, knowing you are held and sustained by the remarkable mind that has brought you this far and will continue carrying you forward through all your nights and days, processing, learning, protecting, connecting, creating this moment by moment experience of being you. Good night.